Hello, and welcome to the Resilient Leader's Journey, a podcast where we navigate the challenging currents of growth and change. If you are enjoying these podcasts, subscribe, tell somebody about it, click on the like button. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, or LinkedIn or my YouTube channel. My guest today is Greg Kovsky. Greg is the president and designated broker of International Business Associates. He is a graduate of the University of Texas, Hook'em Horns. They sell primarily privately held companies, small family companies that range 500,000 to 30 million. And to date, it's near 5,000 transactions. Greg, hello. How are you today?
Wonderful. Good to be here, Trent.
I'm so happy to have you. Greg, I understand that in an earlier life, you were a basketball coach who got to work with Rick Pitino at different basketball camps. My pressing question to you today is, why haven't you won a national championship?
Great question. I would say I didn't stay a coach long enough to get there. It was actually interesting this year in the Final Four in that Brad Underwood, who coaches at Illinois, took a team to the Final Four. If you go back to the early 90s, we were both coaching in the same junior college conference in Kansas.
Okay, you just took a different path from the Final Four.
Exactly. I only pursued college basketball coaching for 4 years. It was a great ride, but decided I didn't want to stay that path.
So what made Brad and University of Illinois this unique, they took amazing usage of the transfer portal. They had 4 international players that were playing professionally somewhere else. How do you feel about that? 1, that change in college basketball, and 2, about bringing in professional talent for your organization?
Great question. And college basketball has changed dramatically since I left, and there are good and bad elements to it. The bad element is if you see a skinny 18-year-old kid, you may spend 2 years developing them, and just when they're ready to blossom, they transfer. And so from a organizational standpoint, it frustrates me because I know the time, energy, resources that go into developing talent, and I believe in self-interest, and sometimes a change is needed for a player, but I actually think programs almost like the transfer portal in soccer should get some compensation themselves for a player moving, let's say, from Boise State out here, moves to UCLA. Well, if Boise State put 2 years into taking a raw kid and developing him, and then UCLA gets him and he blossoms for a year or 2 and goes pro, shouldn't the coaching staff at Boise State, the dietitian, the weightlifting trainers, shouldn't they get some reward, or should it just be strictly a taker relationship for the player?
Boy, Greg, we could take that into business as well. I have developed a lot of younger leaders into managers, and then they go to another company. And I'm like, hey, how about something for the help here? Where I spent all that time getting them ready, and now they're superstars at other companies. Has that happened with you?
Exactly. As a owner, executive manager, you put a lot of time, energy, and resources into developing talent. And sometimes they will leave, maybe will be wooed away, and they'll come back to you later and say it wasn't as good as it was advertised. But it is a reality in the world that sometimes to grow and blossom, you need to leave the nest. And there are people who mentor us, develop us along the way. I've had mentors, you've likely had mentors who a smart person should recognize I wouldn't be who I am today without them.
You know, that phraseology is almost like what my high school sweetheart said to me, right? If you let it go, if it comes back, it was meant to be.
Exactly.
So, can you please tell our audience what IBA is and where you're located?
Certainly. IBA is the oldest and largest business brokerage firm in the Pacific Northwest. We've been in business since 1975. I've been with the firm since 94 and the president and CEO since 2000. And we help business owners sell their privately owned companies, family businesses. We're all licensed real estate brokers, so we can sell both asset classes for them. Think a winery that has vineyards, a production facility, a tasting room, own the real estate, but also have the brand, the manufacturing, distribution of the business. We can do that under one umbrella. And we employ five principles. We try to be market leaders in terms of knowledge, experience, skill, best practices, all built on a foundation of integrity.
So, how does a business owner get to the point where they start to ask themselves, am I ready to sell? What's your experience with that?
People come to us for generally three different reasons. The most common reason is father time. I am ready to retire. We're seeing the silver tsunami currently of the baby boomers wanting to retire. It's a very pure, clean reason to sell. You've owned the company 30 years and you're ready to retire. The second reason, and this is the second most common one we get, is people either enjoy creation but have gotten bored with projects. I have one tech entrepreneur I've sold four businesses for who, when he needs an HR department, he usually calls me. He likes it when it's 5 to 10 people working their tails off in pursuit of a dream. When it becomes administrative, he calls me and says, it's not fun anymore. This is not what I like to do.
I'm out,
Let's
right?
monetize it. And then the last is distress sales, which is partnership breakups, divorce, health issues, death, etc., which not my favorite sales, but we do provide a needed service to people going through those life changes.
Greg, I've acquired a dozen companies, and they've fallen, as you say, into all three. The majority fall into this new fantastic term I'm going to use, a silver tsunami.
Isn't that a great term?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great term. And I've seen this where people they get towards 60 and then hopefully, but sometimes it's 65 or more when they finally realize, and they don't appreciate that the years that go by between 60 to 65, the value of the business may well be going down. Do you find that as well?
It can. When people stop evolving, I mean, we're going through the AI evolution right now. We get some owners who don't want to address AI. So it's a good time to sell with everything in place and running fine, and finding someone who knows how to take advantage of the efficiencies that are happening. I also say there are different things of value, and I have this conversation commonly with owners. You can't buy more time, and there's a window when maybe you want to travel and do some things physically. And even my wife and I have that conversation. We want to go to safari in Africa. We want to see Indonesia and do some exploration on those islands. And do I have 10, 15 years of a window for that? Because I may not want to do that trip when mobility isn't the same.
Listen, if you have to outrun a tiger, I'd rather you do it at 59 than 74.
Thank you. I'll probably lose either way, but I would like to see the animals in the wild. I think it would be an amazing thing to experience.
I've done that, and I would say it's worth a great month of your life to go do it and
Thank you.
experience it. Absolutely.
I've heard many positive experiences.
And look, I have no scars. I was not caught by an animal. The Silver Tsunami folks, what makes them the type of leaders that have survived in business that long and now have in many ways, maybe a cult following to that ownership? Now they want to sell it to you. What makes them unique?
I would say it comes down to very simple things. It's people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I believe the great leaders are known, liked, and trust. They have knowledge, they have achievement on their resume, they have good quality products, they have superior customer service. All those things are foundational to a quality company.
And you would say, by extension, are foundation to quality leaders as well.
Exactly. I mean, you only get one reputation, and it can be viewed in a lot of contexts. It can be viewed by your spouse and your kids. It can be viewed by the people in your organization. It can be viewed by your customers and vendors as a business owner. And if you tarnish that, if people start experiencing negative events in association with you, it's going to negatively impact your life.
Do you value character into the principle that's selling in a monetary value, so you can compare this character is worth more to me than this character in two different businesses you might be selling?
Certainly. We actually operate on a 100% paid on performance business model. And our process starts with evaluation of the company, where we will give a professional opinion of the value. And this is pre-contract and having collected no dollars. On our client side, this gives them an opportunity to assess our knowledge, experience, customer service, and learn what the business is worth. On our side, we are assessing, is this a business model that I believe has a future? Because we don't want to sell something that's going to go out of business organically in 2 or 3 years. Can we work collaboratively with this business owner? Your character question. Do I trust them? Are we going to be able to communicate effectively, directly during this sale process, which is a very close short term relationship? And then the last is, are they realistic on value? And we will assess all three metrics, and they don't automatically get IBA as a brokerage firm. We actually pass on 2 out of 3 parties that come to us, but we sell 80 to 90% of our engagements. So we are blessed to be in high demand.
What a great, first off, hit rate. But secondly, so what are two of the top reasons why you would pass on a company?
Well, the first and most common one is they're unrealistic on value. When I'm representing a client, I will say to them, I've been doing this 32 years. I do it full time. I'm 100% paid on performance. So I may work on your project 6 to 24 months without compensation, but on the belief I will get paid in the future. And I don't want your project at that price. If you're not going to take my leadership and believe my knowledge and experience have value, then I don't want to start this project. I'm paid traditionally a percentage of the sale price. So I have a vested interest in getting the best price I can for you. But if we don't have trust at the start, it's like, do you argue with your doctor when they say, this is the treatment I recommend for that problem? Do you say, No, I saw a video online that I shouldn't treat it with this pharmaceutical. I should be, drinking apple cider vinegar and sleeping in a different position each night to get the cure. I mean, it's again, why do you hire a professional?
Well, you know that there are a lot of WebMD doctors out there that know
Yeah,
better, it seems. So one of the topics we talk quite a bit here is where humility fits into leadership. It almost sounds like that's one of the tests of their humility is the reasonableness of their ask on the price. Is it?
it is. I mean, it's I believe in servant leadership in that the customer is always right. I mean, you can pick your customer, and I'm going to work to the best of my ability for you. But I mean, I address most of my clients as boss. You know, they have hired me to do a job. I'm very good at what I do, but you got to recognize who is the boss. And I actually coach my clients that you're the owner of this team that is selling. You're the one who actually directs your intermediary, your attorney, your CPA in the sale. And using the attorneys as an example, if we all listened 100% of the time to our attorneys as entrepreneurs, we would be half as successful. The reason we're entrepreneurs is we have risk acceptance. But attorneys should give you the guidance that, yeah, you're going across a tightrope and there's no net. There is wonderful things on the other side. I think you can navigate it. You've done it in the past, but recognize a misstep here or there that you could be sued or you could have a negative outcome.
I always likened lawyers for those type of things to the bumpers they put into bowling alleys, right? Most of the time I'm going to put it down the middle and get knock some pins down, but occasionally if I go off, I'm looking for the bumper to put me back in place.
It's a great analogy. And I have multiple attorneys on retainer, and I greatly value their guidance. And they've kept me out of trouble. I mean, they've reviewed documents and agreements, and I'm all for that. But there are situations where you need to push go as an entrepreneur and acknowledge the risk.
You've had the ability, Greg, over 30 plus years to meet some truly effective leaders. In your experience, for the people that you're providing service for, what are some of the qualities of those effective leaders? I know you mentioned know, like, and trust, but what are the ones that make them stand out from the other 4,000 you've dealt with?
Communication. I think effective leaders can communicate in a variety of domains. It's in person to the five senses. It's written by email or in a letter. It's virtually like we are doing. It's on the phone where 100% of your message needs to be conveyed verbally and having the
Yeah,
right
it's
word
there's so many
choices.
ways. There's so many. And by the way, that I shouldn't gloss over the last point you just made there. And having the right word choices, it really matters. The vocabulary, your lexicon, how you talk at different levels to different people to be an effective communicator. And you've seen people in your line of work that could effectively communicate the vision of their company. I'm assuming, and then there are probably some that just couldn't. And does that affect value?
It does. I mean, it's again, perception is reality. And to talk about one method that's common is email. How many times have you heard or seen yourself in email that is read as yelling when it's not yelling at all? It's just direct, straight communication, but because there's no tone as it would have been conveyed in person, people get their back up. And they misread it because they get on their defense. And in professional negotiations, that's so important, is picking the right medium for communication. And the same thing in leadership with a company. And we could probably spend an hour on whether you're communicating by different genders or different age demographics. People interpret information differently, and a leader has the ability to switch gears. I mean, I even on my team, um, how I communicate with my female brokers is different than how I communicate with some of the male brokers who have been with me for years, because I'm not worrying about some of these perception issues.
Certainly. The idea of negotiation, how valuable is a skill for that for effective leaders in your mind?
Extremely. I mean, I think in any negotiation, there's a range of outcomes. Something I commonly say at IBA is there are situations that 3 out of 4 brokers can problem solve and get through. There are ones that 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000. But generally, there is someone who can see how to work the Rubik's Cube and get parties to yes. Getting back with what we just talked about, and this is something I emphasize, can often be so simple that it's just a matter of saying, we're at a stop point. Can I buy you a cup of coffee or a beer? And let's just talk through this in person. Let's set the legal documents aside. Let's not do this by email or text or in a car as you're driving to your kid's Little League game. Let's sit down and flesh it out, and let's get to the why. Why is this an issue? Is it past experience? Is it the communication selected? Is it maybe if we just tweak the words, we are not in disagreement? Many times I will bring buyers and sellers together and conceptually talk about purchase and sale differences between their counsel and work to get them conceptually on the same page, and then send them back to their attorneys to make them execute in writing what they want, because the attorneys can butt heads and it cannot be reflective of what the buyer and seller want in a transaction.
You, in your answer there, you listed one of my favorite books on negotiation, Getting to Yes by Bill Urey.
It's a great
read and a must read for, I would say, all developing leaders to start to hone in on some of your chops on negotiating and the value that it can add to your role as a leader, add to your role as a company owner. There's a catchphrase that I use quite often. I've taught my kids this. You don't get what you earn, you get what you negotiate.
I like it. And everything's a negotiation probably at your house.
And everything is a negotiation. That's exactly right. Do you have a catchphrase that you use in your line of work often?
There is one that I've come up with, is embrace the possible.
Embrace the possible. That sounds great. I love that. What does that mean to you?
It means that there is a positive outcome. There is a solution to most situations. I try not to, as a negotiator, to have a unilateral yes, no, A, B choice. I believe good negotiators develop a menu of options forward, and there can be throwaway options. Just like with your kids, you could say, we can just have ice cream for dinner. It's all good. That may be an option on the table, but it's not one that's going to get executed on. But there could be ice cream as part of the outcome.
What a wonderful way to think of it. Greg, I have one last question for you. who is your favorite fictional character?
Great question. And I'm going to take a pseudo fictional character as my choice. We've all seen the movie Rudy. Well, it's a reflection of a true person. My VP of Business Development, Kurt Meyer, actually went to Notre Dame and was at the Rudy game historically.
He's in that massive picture they have of it?
Yes, but it wasn't nearly the event that the movie made. But I love the story of someone chasing their dreams, willing to put in the hard work, having faith that they will get where they need. It's one of my favorite movies. I've watched it countless times. And like many historical movies, there's elements of truth. The game did happen. He was a walk-on, but Hollywood had fun with it at the same time.
Do you cry at all when you watch that movie?
I have had a tear. It's moving. I like inspirational movies. One of the movies that inspired me to be a business broker was, and you may have seen it, Working Girl with Harrison Ford and Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith. Yeah.
And that's another one that almost brings a tear to my eye when I watch it, because she also, in that movie, that character, believed in herself, chased her dream, had integrity, had the skill set, and ended up with the job of her dreams and the man of her dreams. And it kind of got me thinking about A as a field, and I still love that movie.
Great, Kovsky. This has been a tremendous interview. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. It's been an honor to be on your podcast, Trent.
Friends, resilient leaders face challenging currents, and it's tough navigating. But with one tack or another, we can get there together. Again, if you enjoy interviews like we just had with Greg Kovsky, please subscribe, like it, tell a friend about it so more people can learn and listen. I look forward to seeing you next time. Be well.